Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea about perception, one that comes straight from the spiritual text, A Course in Miracles. It's a concept called holy vision, and believe me, it really challenges the way we normally judge the world, and even ourselves. So before we get into the weeds, just take a second and ask yourself this. How do you actually see the world? I mean, when you meet a new person or walk into a room, what's that initial mental filter that just clicks on? Is it about sizing things up, or is it something else entirely? Okay, hold on to that thought about your own filter, because the source material we're looking at today suggests a totally different one, and it's all built around this one sentence. My holy vision sees all things as pure. Now, I know that might sound impossible, maybe a little naive, right? So what on earth does it actually mean to see everything as pure? And how could that possibly change our default way of seeing? Let's get right to it. What is this holy vision? Well, the text presents it as a way of seeing that helps us move beyond that automatic and, let's be honest, often constant state of judgment we all live in. So here's how the source breaks it down. It's a perception that sees all things as pure and inherently good. The real key here is that idea of connection, seeing everything as linked to its essential nature, or what the text calls its divine source. Basically, it's about training yourself to look past all the surface-level stuff, all the flaws, to see an underlying wholeness. And this is where you can really see the contrast. On one side, you've got our usual go-to, judgment. It's like a lens that's trained to spot every little flaw, which, creates distance and just reinforces that feeling of not good enough. But on the other side, you have holy vision, and that's an intentional choice to look for what the text calls inherent purity. It's a totally different lens, one that looks for common ground and acknowledges value instead of finding fault. Okay, but why even try to make such a huge shift in perception? Well, according to the source material, changing how we see is directly connected to changing our sense of purpose. And the source is really clear on this. This is not just some feel-good mental trick. It's actually presented as a central practice for what it calls spiritual awakening. It's a way to train your mind to look beyond all the surface-level drama and conflict, to see a more unified, connected reality underneath it all. And when you start to adopt this vision, the idea is that it creates this amazing ripple effect. By healing our own perception, we open ourselves up to a much more authentic experience of love and unity. And that, in turn, helps us feel aligned with something much bigger than ourselves. All right, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do this? How does it work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the toolkit the source provides for putting this vision into practice. The source suggests we start right where things usually get sticky, our day-to-day interactions. So go ahead, bring to mind a challenging coworker, or maybe that family member you'll always seem to clash with, anyone you tend to see through a critical lens. And right in that moment, the practice is to make a conscious choice. Instead of letting your mind do its default thing and zoom in on their flaws, you actively try to see their inherent worth. You look for the common humanity that you both share. It's a deliberate shift, turning away from critique and turning toward connection. And hey, this way of seeing isn't just for those tough relationships. The source suggests you can practice it in moments of peace, too, like, say, during a simple walk out in nature. So as you're walking, the practice is to look at a tree, or a flower, or a bird, and see it not just as an object, but as an expression of creation itself. The idea is to just see its beauty and purity without layering on any other judgment or label. And if you want a more focused approach, the source offers this really simple meditation. You find a quiet spot, you repeat that core phrase, my holy vision sees all things as pure, and then you bring that challenging person or situation to mind and just allow your perspective to shift, even just a little, towards seeing their purity. And to kind of keep this mindset going throughout the day, the source suggests using affirmations like these. They work like little reminders, gentle nudges to reset your perception whenever you feel yourself slipping back into those old, familiar patterns of judgment. So, we've looked at what this vision is, why it matters, and even a few ways to practice it. Now, the final step is really about reflecting on what all this could actually mean for you. Because at the end of the day, the whole goal of a practice like this is to dissolve our own internal barriers. According to the source, by letting go of that constant need to judge, we clear a path to a sense of love and unity that was actually there all along. And that leaves us with one final, powerful question to carry with us, one that comes straight from the source material. How does your world change when you consciously choose to see all things as pure? What judgments pop up, and how can you start to dissolve them? Thanks so much for watching The Explainer.